Hi, you're welcome to our online training program. We are starting a new series on how to analyze your data in SPSS. Today, we are looking at SPSS coding and entry for demographic data. My name is Williams and I'll be your instructor for the whole series. Let's link up on social media. Say Africa on YouTube and Facebook, Say Africa 1 on IG and Twitter. Enjoy the lesson. Alright, let's say you collect data with an instrument like this, an achievement test instrument, and you want to analyze using SPSS. This is how you go about it. So we can see part 1, details of respondents. That is what other people may call demographic information. So we can see that question 1 is asking about respondents' gender. We have two options, male and female. Question 2 is asking about how many years respondents have been teaching at the basic school level. We have three options, 5 years and below, and so on. Three options in here. Question 3 is asking about how they obtain their teaching certificate. We have two options. So this demographic information is influenced by the kind of work I'm doing, the kind of research, what is needed in my work. So yours may be different, but of course, it may be along this line. So let's quickly go onto the SPSS software to see what we can do for something like this. All right, so this is how the SPSS looks like. The SPSS has two views, the data view and then the variable view. So when I put the cursor on the data view and I click on it, if I'm on the data view, then the data view or the word data view will be highlighted with yellow, as you can see on your screen. And then the same applies to the variable view. But let me comment quickly on the two views before we do the proper coding. So let me start with the variable view. Now, the variable view is where we help the SPSS to understand the data we are going to enter. For example, you are going to be entering numbers. SPSS does not know that when you enter 1, it means male or female. So you are going to tell SPSS that whenever you see the number 1, I mean male, and whenever you see the number 2, I mean female under the variable gender. So if you don't do that well, then SPSS will not understand the data you have entered. So that is going to also affect your analysis. So it is important that you do the coding so well so that the system will understand the data you have entered and then you can get a good output. Okay, the data view is where you are going to enter individual responses. So if you collected data from 300 people, then you're going to enter the responses of all the 300 people at the data view. All right, let's get started. So we are going to use the instrument, that is the teacher made achievement test. That's going to be our guide for the coding. So let's go on to the teacher made achievement test and see how we are going to start the coding. So we can see that the first item on the teacher made achievement test is on gender, and under gender we have two options, male and female. Because it is categorical, I am going to choose two numbers to represent the two options. I am choosing 1 for males, 2 for females. You can also choose 3 and 4. You can even choose 0 and 1. You can even make females 1 and males 2. It depends on you because the numbers do not mean anything. They are just representations for the categorical options. So the first item is gender, and I'm going to code gender. But note that I said male is 1 and female is 2. You can also change it to whichever numbers you want. Now I come to the variable view. Now, we can see that on the variable view, there were a number of headings: name, type, width, decimal, label, values, missing, column, align, measure, row. I'm going to concentrate on the most important ones so that we can explore the other ones later. But I'll highlight on anything you need to be able to code effectively as a beginner. So the first column has a name, and the name is name. So the title of the first column is name. Now there are rules to the first column. This is where we type the name of the item. That is the first one. The name of the item was gender. As you can see, the name of the item is gender. We'll type that name here for the first row. But there are rules to how we type the names under the column name. This column cannot accept spaces. That's the first rule. The second rule is that you cannot begin an item name with a number. Let me try them for you to see. So let's say I begin this item name with 2. F-E-R. I'm just typing any word. Let's see what comes. The system is saying that variable name contains an illegal first character. So it means that I cannot begin typing the name of any of the items using a number. The second rule is that I cannot also type with space. For example, if I want to type gender of respondents, gender space of respondents. So you can see that I've left space. Don't worry about the typing errors. It is also telling me that variable name contains an illegal character, and it is coming like this because I left space. So if I don't want to get this notification that there are illegal characters in the names I've typed, then I have to make sure I keep these 2 rules in my head. That one, I will not type beginning with a number, and I also not type using spaces. So gender. Because I didn't type with space, it has accepted it. And the first item is gender. Now, the type of data we are going to enter is numeric because we have assigned 1 and 2 to gender, which is male and female. And then the width is the number of digits you can input. This is the default, so you can leave it. The decimal is how you want your data to appear. So on the data view, if your data has got some decimals, then you are saying the decimal places should be 2. You can increase or decrease it if you think that your data has no decimal, but you can leave it at the default. It doesn't change anything. Now the label is the tag we are giving to the item gender. Some people choose to copy the entire question of the item here, but you can also write it in full, because whatever label you give to gender, that is what will come as the heading of, let's say, a graph you construct on gender, or a table you construct on gender. So whatever label you give to gender, that is what will come with the output, whichever analysis you do on gender. So I'm going to write it in full and make it like gender of respondents. It means that whenever I generate anything about gender, the label will be the heading. So I'm done with the label. The next one is value. Under value, we are going to tell SPSS that whenever we see 1, we mean male. Whenever we see 2, we mean female. Just like we did on our instrument. And I've also indicated that you can change it to whichever numbers you want. You can use 3 and 4, 5 and 6, whichever numbers you want, because they are just representations to this categorical variable, gender. So You click on the box and this will pop up. So it is asking for value and label. And on the questionnaire, we have indicated that whenever we enter 1, we mean male. So you add it. Whenever we enter 2, we mean female. Then you enter it. Let's say you didn't type well. You made a mistake in the spelling. You want to edit it. There are 2 ways. Either you click on what you have made a mistake in and remove. So it's gone. I've removed it. And type it again. So 2, female. Or if you think you have made a mistake, you can click on it. When it comes, then you can edit it. So let's say I didn't spell the male well. Then you click on, you edit it like this. And it is asking for change. Let's say male is spelled M-A-L. Then you click on change. Then it changes to whatever you want. But because I've still made a mistake, then I'll click on it and edit again. And it is also asking for change. So you can either remove and type it differently, or you can edit and change. So when you are editing, the change will automatically be highlighted. It will be activated for you to click on it to change it. So we have indicated clearly that 1 is male and 2 is female. When you are done, you click on OK and it will add it. So we are done coding the value column. Now the missing is okay, the column is okay. These are default. You don't have to worry yourself about it. The missing is in case you have a bulk data and there are some values that are missing. You may want to code all the missing values with a number, which you can ignore for now. And then the align is whether the numbers should be left align or right align and so on. The other important thing is measure. You need to understand which kind of variable this is. We can see that gender is a categorical variable, but under categorical variable, we have 2 types. We have nominal and ordinal. The nominal is where order is not important. The ordinal is where order is important. But here, males are not better than females. Females are not better than males. So it means that it is a nominal variable. So we click on the measure and then we select nominal. So we are done coding for gender. Let's go to the next one. The next item is how many years have you been teaching mathematics at the basic school level? And we have 3 options: 5 years and below, 6 to 10 years, above 10 years. And we are saying that 5 years and below should be 1, 6 to 10 years should be 2, above 10 years should be 3. It can be whichever numbers you want. So let's go back. But we know that the name we can give to this can be years of experience or experience. Looking at the nature of the question, how many years have you been teaching? So I want to call it years of experience. So I come here and I write years. Because it is not one word as the first one, if I still want to bring my space, then I have to use underscore because this column does not accept spaces. So years underscore of underscore experience. And because I have not left any space, it accepts it because it sees it as one word, yes underscore of underscore experience. Then I'll follow the same procedure. Label. So yes, years of teaching experience of respondents. Then I come to values. On the values, we said 1 is for 5 years and below. I add. 2 is for 6 to 10 years. I add. 3 is for above 10 years. And if you make any mistake, you can click on it and edit. And when you are editing, this will change to, the change will be activated. You click on it. But if you want to remove and type it again, you can also click on remove and type it again. But because I'm done, I want to click on OK, and then I'm done. So I'm done coding at the value column 4 years of experience. I come to measure. Now the years of experience, it depends on how you want to look at it. If you are looking at it just for grouping sake, for example, I just want to categorize the teachers just for grouping sake, then you may want to call it nominal. But if your focus is on quantifying their experiences, for example, you think that those who have spent 6 to 10 years have got more experience than those who have spent less than 5 years, then you may want to call it ordinal. But it depends on how you want to quantify it. But here, my interest is on the fact that those who have spent more years, the experience is higher than those who have spent less years. So I want to choose ordinal. And that is the other type of categorical data. Let me do for the last one. So the last one is on how they obtain their teaching certificate. You have two options. So I want to call it teaching certification or certification. So I come and I call it certification. And I'm done. So teaching certification of respondents. Then I come here. We said one is for distance and 2 is for college. I add, I'm done, I click OK, and then I come here. Distance is not better than college. College is not better than distance, so it is a nominal variable. So I'm done coding the demographic part of the instrument. Let's look at how the coded demographic information would appear on the data view. So we are going back to the data view. We can see that the items we coded have appeared on the top and they have formed columns. So let me expand them for you to see them clearly. So we can see that we have the first column, which is gender, which is the first thing we coded. The second thing is years of experience. The third thing is certification. So because we want to work on demographics, I want to assume that we want to enter data for the demographic part before we go to the other part. So let's say you pick the first person's sheet, the respondent, the instrument you sent out for the data. So you are done coding, you need to enter the data. You can see the numbers on your left here where my cursor is. It goes down, 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 and it represents the number of people you have collected data from. So you will pick your sheet, the first person, the first respondent, and you check on that sheet and see what information the person gave you concerning gender. If the person said he is a male, we said that males are 1. So you enter 1. You enter 1. And then you check what information the person gave about his years of teaching experience. Let's say the person said his experience is between 6 to 10. We said that 6 to 10 is 2. So you enter 2. And then his certification, let's say he said he completed College of Education, so 2, and so on. Have you seen that the numbers are coming as 1.00, 2.00, even when we enter single numbers without decimals? It is coming as 2 decimal places because when we were coding, we allowed the decimals to be 2. So when I reduce it to 0, I've reduced that of gender. Let's go and see how it will appear. Have you seen that the 0.00 has gone? So it means that the number of decimal places you leave here, that is how your data will appear over here. So when we still push it to the default, which is 2, then it will still get the 1.00. So you enter for the second one. Let's say he said he's a male, female, and then he said his experience is 1, which is below 5 years and below, and then his certification is college, and so on. So let's say the next person's college is distance, but his experience is 3, above 10 years, and his gender is male. So you do this for all your respondents, but because we don't have any data, I want to duplicate it and show you the last thing on demographics. So I've entered up to 15. If I end here, it means that I collected data from 15 people. Thank you. We are done with coding and entering data for demographic information. Our next video will be on coding for multiple choice and theory questions. Bye.